Good day to you, my dear friends. It truly warms my heart, and I mean that sincerely, to sit down and have this conversation with you today. You know, as the years pass and the seasons of life change, we come to realize that time is not just something to be counted. It is something to be felt, to be lived deeply. And if you are anything like me, there are certain thoughts that quietly settle in the back of your mind, surfacing late at night or in those moments of quiet when the world slows down. One of those thoughts, perhaps the heaviest of them all, is this simple yet profound question. What happens if I grow old, alone? It is not an easy thing to admit, even to ourselves. But I say this to you as someone who has walked many roads, seen many sunsets, and lived through joys and losses alike. This question deserves our honesty, and it deserves our reflection. Oh, my friends, that word, alone, how heavy it can be. It is not just about the absence of voices in the house or the sound of footsteps down the hallway. No, it is about that deeper, almost invisible ache of feeling unseen, unheard, perhaps even forgotten. And that is a hard truth, because it is not just the body that ages. Sometimes it is the heart that grows weary. But hear me now, and hear me well, because this comes from a place of hard-earned wisdom. Being alone does not mean being lonely. These two words, while often spoken together, are not the same. In my years, I have seen many who live under the same roof with family, husbands, wives, children, grandchildren, yet inside they carry a loneliness so profound it could bring tears to your eyes. Their days are filled with noise, but their hearts echo hollow. And then, I have also met those who live quietly, even in solitude, but whose lives overflow with meaning, with peace, and with the quiet joy of having made peace with themselves and their world. That is no accident, my friends. That is the result of deliberate choices, of crafting a life rich in habits that feed not just the body, but the soul. You see, the secret, if I may call it that, lies in the daily rituals we build. Small intentional acts that may seem simple to others, but to us, become lifelines. Habits that give our days shape, our minds purpose, and our hearts comfort. And I say this not merely from personal reflection, but backed by solid research right here in the United States. Harvard Medical School, alongside the National Institute on Aging, has shown through years of studies that seniors who maintain daily routines, social connections, and mental engagement live longer, healthier lives. Not only do they reduce their risk of heart disease and memory loss, but they also shield themselves against that creeping shadow of depression. That is not just science, that is survival wisdom. But here is the hard part, my friends. Knowing it is one thing. Living it, especially when the days grow long and the nights grow cold, is quite another. That is why I do not stand here today to preach or give advice like some expert on a stage. No, I speak to you as a fellow traveler, someone who has faced those same empty rooms and quiet afternoons. And so let me share with you, not theories, but practices born from real life, habits that have carried me through and that I believe with all my heart can carry you too. Every morning when my eyes open, I take a slow, deliberate breath, and I remind myself, this day is a gift. It may not be perfect. It may not be filled with grand adventures, but it is mine, and it is new. That simple thought sets the tone for everything that follows. You see, without a rhythm, time becomes like water slipping through our fingers. The mind wanders, the heart grows restless. But with even the simplest routine, a warm cup of tea, a walk down the street, a few moments with the garden, or even just watering a small plant on the windowsill, life takes on shape. These little rituals, my friends, they are not meaningless. They anchor us. And science agrees. Studies show these daily habits lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and even improve sleep quality. Psychologists call them anchors because they give our days stability, much like a ship anchored safely against the tide. Now, if there is one thing age has taught me, it is this. Staying curious is the greatest gift we can give our minds. Curiosity, my dear friends, is not just for the young. It is the secret to keeping the mind sharp and the spirit young. Each day, I make it my mission to learn something new. A page from a book, a snippet of a podcast, even a documentary on some part of the world I have never seen. And did you know? The University of California conducted research proving that lifelong learning helps delay cognitive decline and reduces the risk of dementia. That is not just interesting, that is powerful. It means that by staying curious, by feeding our minds, we are also protecting our future selves. But curiosity alone cannot fill the heart, can it? No. We are human beings. We need connection. And in this modern world, that has become a double-edged sword. Family may live across the country. Old friends may have gone their own ways. But technology, my friends, can be our bridge if we are brave enough to cross it. I understand the hesitation. I, too, once found the internet to be a confusing place. But over time, I learned it is not our enemy. In fact, here in the United States, programs like Senior Planet and Oats have helped thousands of seniors like us to navigate this digital world safely and confidently. Research shows that seniors who engage online, through video calls, virtual communities, or even a simple Facebook group, experience less isolation and report higher levels of life satisfaction. That, my friends, is proof that it is never too late, not just to learn new skills, but to connect, to belong. Now, I would be remiss if I did not speak about the body, because as much as the mind needs feeding, the body needs movement. Age may slow us down, but it should not stop us. Gentle stretching, a walk in the fresh air, or if you are lucky enough to find one, a local Tai Chi class. These simple acts are not about chasing lost youth. They are about preserving dignity. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, tells us that just 30 minutes of moderate activity, 5 days a week, lowers the risk of chronic disease, improves balance, and even boosts our mood. Think about that. Movement is not vanity, my friends. It is survival. It is about being able to rise from your chair without help, to care for yourself, to stand tall even when the world wants you to shrink. And finally, let us not forget the most important part, the heart, the emotional heart. Loneliness is a quiet enemy. It creeps in when we stop feeling useful. That is why even now I make it a point to contribute. Volunteering, mentoring, joining community projects. These are not just ways to pass time. They are ways to remind ourselves that we matter, that our stories, our wisdom, our presence are still needed in this world. The Corporation for National and Community Service reports that seniors who volunteer regularly feel less depressed and enjoy a stronger sense of purpose. And that, my dear friends, is priceless. So, what I hope you take from our conversation today is this. Growing old alone is not a curse, and it is not the end of the story. It is a chapter. And like any chapter, we get to decide how it is written. By building these small yet powerful daily habits, we do not merely pass the time. We enrich it. We protect our minds, strengthen our bodies, and most importantly, we nourish our souls. We show the world, and more importantly, ourselves, that we are still here, we are still living, and we still have so much to give. And now, before we part, I want you to hold on to this simple truth. Every sunrise you see is a blessing, an invitation to live, to learn, to love, even if quietly. Do not let fear steal what remains of this beautiful life. Embrace these habits. Stay curious, stay connected, keep moving, and above all, remember, you still matter. And if in any way this conversation has touched your heart, if it has sparked even a small flame of hope or reflection, I ask you to share it. Share this video with a friend, a neighbor, or someone you love, because you never know who needs to hear these words just as much as you did. And of course, my dear friends, before we say goodbye, I humbly invite you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. Your support helps us build a community where none of us walks this journey alone. Until we meet again, stay well, stay kind, and never forget, the best chapters of your story may still be waiting to be written.